So Moldir's Anecdote in the shadows of the mountain. I believe this should be like a hour and a half maybe, or maybe an hour. We'll see. This is gonna be a short stream today because I just took a break from just packing for packs and just doing a short stream. After this, I just have to remember what else I might need to bring. Wait, is this the same thing as Necrosless's type thing where it's like going to different areas? Hey Raven! Welcome in! Welcome Raiders! Alright. Horseback riding. Oh. If you have to do any post-care raid stuff, you know, if you have to, you know, eat dinner, go to sleep, don't mind me, you know. I don't mind. Do some care. Don't want to. Alright. Horseback riding. So we're outside, valley, outside the ancient city of Al Kalamnum. Enjoy your cake. Or is it? There is no cake. The cake is a lie. Along the riverbank, young riders grip their reins as they make their way back towards the village garrison. At the head of the column rides the lieutenant, on her brown ride, a Kawataki, and behind her the slanting sun sweeps westward, hanging alone at the edge of the earth. So are we able to click these highlighted ones? Alright, so Lieutenant, while Igor fights on the front, his eldest child has been placed on another task. So is that talking about, is Moldir the eldest child, or is it Pulmonaire? No one has to keep things working at the rear. It's a promotion and all, but name and expression is absolute trust. Oh, it probably is Moldir then. So, it is said that the elk carries the blood of the force horses. They're stubborn, with a wild spirit. But once broken in, their loyalty is unshakable. In the east, old tales claim they could run for hundreds of miles in a single day, until their sweats turn red as blood. Snow Peak rises with solemn majesty, catching the late fall afterglow before casting their shadows downward. The horsemen rise through the ancient dust, wending their way back towards the garrison. Their luck has run thin today. Several soldiers lost their way, and the rendezvous has been set an hour late to give them time to rejoin the column. Out of consideration of her new recruits, young soldiers newly arrive at this unfamiliar land, and she holds out just a little longer. And for her fortune turns, as Lieutenant Moldir prepares to send riders out to search. Her stragglers finally appear on the hillside, overdue but unharmed. Pick it up. We need to be back before nightfall. Is everyone accounted for? She lifts the rein, and her horse rides before breaking into a few quick strides, circling back along the flank of the column towards the rear. 6, 7, 8. She counts each rider, making certain each man and mount matches, no soldier left behind, and no horses allowed to lose its way home. Boyardor, what are you carrying in those side pouches? She brings her horse to a halt beside one of the soldiers, turns the mount and rides in step with the young soldier, pointing to the curved bursack pouch hanging from its saddle. Picked a few fun catches this afternoon. Nothing beats hunting at the time of year. The soldier loosens the pouch and proudly shows the treasure to his commanding officer. Be prepared. We could be sent to the front any time. Yeah, I'm itching to go. The young soldier laughs, glancing back at his comrades. We've been waiting for it. This is how all young men should live, on horseback, rifle in hand, carving out glorious legends on the battlefield. Aye aye. His strong words earn a cheer from the others. Just watch. We'll pick off the enemy one by one, like hunting rabbits. With that rifle? Seems that you're a decent enough shot. Naturally. No one brings in more game than I do. Every shot bag's a kill with me. I never miss. The lieutenant presses in her stirrups, drawn close to Fyodor, then stashes the rifle slung over his shoulder.
I don't think so.
We didn't have any shooting drills today. I did not give you permission to fire your weapon. With that, she changes her tone, confiscates the rifle, and quickly pulls back on her own mount. Orders must be maintained, Voider. If you don't know when to pull the trigger, you will hand the gun over to me. I don't want this to happen again. She raises her voice, issuing the order to everyone in line. Drop whatever you hunted, all of you. Yes, ma'am. With the confiscated rifle in hand, she urges her horse forward, returns to the head of the column, and turns to deliver her commands. I understand your enthusiasm, but orders come before everything. Discipline above all else. Right? Now get rid of anything you weren't carrying when you left camp. As the last word leaves her mouth, she nudges her boot against the horse's flank. The mount catches the signal at once. Its pace quickens until it surges into a gallop. She grips the rein with both hands and leans forward, rising and falling like the waves taking time at the Alcantara gallop. Keep up! Riding at the front, the lieutenant leans in the wind and glances back. The riders who've been idly along the river earlier are now picking up speed to keep pace with her. Among them are both the so-called rebels, withdrawn from Antarctica, and the young recruits the Admiral has gathered since returning to this era. Few of the former remains, while the latter, like Fyodor, making up the bulk of the column. Boots hammered earth, their number causing the earth to tremble them, holding a tight formation as they approach the garrison. The lieutenant rides a good 7 or 8 lengths ahead, watching the line behind as she schools herself beneath her breath. Give them a little more time. We'll make them soldiers soon enough. A stray wave of nostalgia rises up in her chest. Old memories drift around like her like ghosts. She closes her eyes to empty her thoughts and falls into rhythm with the horses beneath her. For a girl born deep in the inland steppes of Asia, all of this comes easy. With so much of her time wrapped in the military duty and camp chores, the chance to ride feels like a long-awaited rest. It's a fleeting and precious rest, letting her soul run free in the rush of the evening winds. Make the most of it, boys. Last one back to the camp is on stable duty with Fyodor. They already got trouble. She calls out the command, and somewhat behind her a loud wail rises, chased by bursts of laughter. The horses keep to their pace, the sun falling lower as the group nears the village where they reach stations. Continue. Are we supposed to click on the fire? This is the campfire, right? Oh, tap the camp. We laid it! Alright, let me close the door so I don't distract anyone. Alright. Alright, so night in the east. Their camp sits in a riverside village beyond the ancient city of Al-Qamdum, not far from the ruins where her unit has set up camp. By the time the lieutenant returns with her riders, the sun has only dipped behind the peak. For the locals, that means night has already fallen. Make sure he's fed. He's the first to step down from the stirrup, offering a long and reassuring pat to the alcra that has carried her all day. After a gentle reminder, she hands the reins to the stable boy. Soon enough, her men dismount and gather around her. chatting idly over the day's training and her tour. Still talking and laughing, she makes her way towards the firelit courtyard. Is that so? Go have Dr. Yelena take a look. If she can still walk, jump, and carry things, it's possible it possibly isn't anything serious. She lifts the new recruit's sleeve, mark left on the fall of the wait, revealing a mark left from his fall off the horse earlier in the day. Nothing serious. At your age, I hit the ground far worse and far more often. With that, she pats the young man on the soldier and sends them all off, walking alone towards a courtyard fenced in by earthen walls. The fire represents the village welcome, a sign of light and good intent. People gather around it, passing tea, dried fruits, and warm smiles. Here, all is calm and quiet, far from war and turmoil. The lieutenant approaches the village elder, and the aging man meets her with a grin. Drink, traveler from afar. May the flames light your path. Thank you. The lieutenant takes the bowl of milk wine in both hands and finishes it in a single gulp. She recognized the flavor, a taste of her childhood, long before she donned a soldier's uniform, in the safety of her grandmother's home, a life that was simple and carefree. Now, after leaving the frozen wastes of Antarctica and returning to an unfamiliar age, she has taken on a new assignment, traveling to the Far East highlands and rivers valleys to take command of the newly reformed units, with orders to make them ready for the battles ahead. We'll be staying here for a few days, sir. Thank you for taking us in. She takes a seat beneath the thick trunk of a desert polar, her eyes lingering on the bonfire burning nearby. The blaze gave off a faint warmth even at this distance. In the courtyard beyond, troops and even hospitalist villagers mingle and joke as they pass around milk wine, salted lamb, and thick stuffed sama pastries. The firelights create a tiny patch of life in the still darkness, an island of peace in this age of war. We welcome our guests, as we always have, but tell me, what name should I give my people when they ask who you are? We'll go with the first one then. The Admiral Ajusi. Uh-oh, what do we change? Was it a good change or a bad change? But we're not sure if this in this timeline if anybody knows what a Xeno officer is. Right? I don't think the villagers know about the Xeno people. You come from further north. My father commands a unit there in the Don River region. Father. Ah, a headman. As the elder speaks the title, he raises his pipe and pulls in a deep breath. Firelight spills across the lane's weathered face, tracing every crease and old scar. Yes, a headman, and a respected one. That's a fair way of putting it. My ancestors are fighters too. They came from afar across the Russian Sea and made their homes there. Yes, I know. That is why I come here. I seek your support, Elder. She states her purpose plainly, to recruit more soldiers for her father's army and to strengthen their influence in the remote region along the rear flank. The old man's eyes narrow, revealing a depth of wisdom behind his gaze. And what would you give us in return, officer? Protection. She names her terms with steady, unguarded honesty. Her father stationed her here so he can drum up support for the front lines, and so she could win over every force that had not yet chosen to oppose them. Stone by stone, a citadel rises. Small gains become towering strengths. The lieutenant understands this well. If the battle roars in the west, then she rides east to gather her allies. Our troops in Al-Qum is more than enough to maintain peace in this region. Peace, simple, direct, and powerful. The old man holds a long silence, opening his shaking right hand as though laying the village before his far-traveled guests. This particular village has been built around a medieval citadel, which climbs up the mountainside, pressed tight against the slope overlooking the pass along the river, moving east to west. It's the perfect choke point. When my ancestors mounted their horse and drew their curved blades, they were warriors. When they dismounted and donned their robes, they were merchants. From east to west, west to east, this is how we have lived for 20-odd centuries. We are friends to all who meet us. As she speaks, the old man waves someone over. A girl in her early teens comes to this gesture, her face glowing in the firelight like a ripped little orange. This is my last remaining granddaughter. Her brothers answered the call for the north and have gone far from here. I'm Lieutenant Moldir. I'm very pleased to meet you. The lieutenant raises and follows the local custom. Touch her right cheek to the girl, then her left, in a gesture of goodwill. The girl nods respectfully as she steps to the elder's side. If you wish, I will ready my finest horse for her and allow her to join you as one of your warriors. No, you just said she was your last granddaughter. The lieutenant's composure wavers for a moment. I did not expect you to refuse another woman in your company. The old man looks at the lieutenant with a long, knowing gaze. No, this isn't what I meant. I'm hoping to find more fighters of the right age here. Everyone in this village can trace their blood back to the same heroic ancestors. Her father and brother have never brought shame upon us. The old man takes his granddaughter by the hand. You're just as good as those riding boys, aren't you? The young girl offers a silent nod. Ma'am, please take her along. Look after her. And let her fight at your side like a hawk. Faced with the sudden request, the lieutenant pauses, searching for a reply. The girl's eyes is like polished jade, green as the grass in spring. The lieutenant can't help thinking the girl belongs tending to a pasture, not fighting on the battlefield. Perhaps the life she has now would suit her better. Why would you? She looks towards the girl, and in an unfamiliar young face, she catches a fleeting glimpse of someone she once knew. Is it Lopera? Is that who she's reminding of? Pasture and herds, they're on her own childhood, and a peaceful life that is all this mere child knows. She should not be holding a docile lamb. She should be holding a docile lamb, not lifting a rifle. I don't have many days left. The old man strokes his beard. Age has worn him down. He can no longer even draw a bowstring. The vigor of his youth eroded like a wind-edged stone. He turns back to the guest beside him. The bonfire casts shadows to the village along the mountainside. In its glow, they seem to honor the ancient gods they served for ages. Light, flame, and the good that stands against its eternal enemy. The trade road has been cut off for years now, and no caravel bells have echoed through the valley of generations. Has echoed through the valley for generations. The fortress built into the cliffside is crumbling in ruins, huge like a sandcastle.
Our program to bring you this important message. I love you. Now back to our show.
Emily, taking a break from work yet? Ready? Love you too. The fortress built into the cliffside is a crumbling ruins, huge like a sandcastle carved from red stone, slowly slipping out of time's remembrance. Peace. This is something we are all acquainted with. He braced himself on his lapis lazuli cane and takes a step forward. But I also know the price of peace. That is why they listen to me, and why they will listen to those who come after me. The old man answers, his voice never rising above an even tone, like the wind softly whipping through the mountains. The support you ask will be, the support you ask for will be yours. But first, I would like to know more about you, our visitors from far away. The flames reveal all. Come, let us speak by the light. A few soldiers, their caps and jackets off, walk towards them. When they see the village elders shaking hands with their commanding officer, their smile vanishes. Pardon me, I'm not interrupting, am I? What is it? It's nothing, really. We just wanted to... The young man glances at one another, rubbing the back of their necks, clearly unsure of how to process. Wanted to... We just wanted to ask if you wanted to dance with us. It's an earnest, friendly invitation from the birds who, just earlier, were over by the fire, dancing arm in arm with the villagers. Oh, so that's what this is about. The lieutenant lets out a quiet laugh, covering her mouth before giving a small wave of her hands. We still have matters to discuss. I'll join you all later. Okay, but actually, I have one more question, just a quick one. Speak. The girl over there just asked if I had the guts to kiss her, and I don't know what to do. His face goes beet red as he blurts out the word. He looks at him and laughs. He is her family, and also an ace pilot who earns his merit in Antarctica. Where has your courage gone, soldier? You would fly into the jaws of death but run from the lust of a pretty girl? Do you need my permission? Go on then. Don't keep her waiting. Yes, ma'am. After giving a comic awkward salute, the soldier trots off towards the crowd. She lets her smile fade and then turns to walk after the old man, heading towards the fire and coming to a stop beside the stacked logs. On the way over, the old man hands her an almond. On the way over, the old man hands her an almond. Thank you. You're probably not used to the flavor this bitter, but we're quite fond of them here. The lieutenant holds the almond between her fingers and eats it. The flavor is sharper than she expected, upturning her face into a skull before she managed to swallow it. You're right about that. Bitterness clears the mind. Before the fire, we speak no lies. A deeper understanding between us will serve the future cooperation well. Then they reach the bonfire. The old man slips on the white cloak mask as if fearing his aging breath would profound their secret flames. The lieutenant approaches the flame with a touch of hesitation, the rich, stark smell of smoke lingering on her nose and lips. Step closer. Do not fear it. The flames will reveal the truth in your heart. What do you see? Let's see. What do we see? We'll go with the second one again. A girl on a horseback riding across the grasslands. Your decision has changed what is yet to come. I'm hoping these are good choices. Thus, and abandoned horses. They race across the grassland that seems to stretch on forever, and a girl rides with them. I know that young rider. She was always like that, riding beyond the horizon, stopping only when her horse chooses to rest, lifting her face to stare at the stars below. Above. She wants to become a scientist, just like her mother. But fate has other ideas. In the end, she picked up a gun. Her hand moves to her sidearm before she thinks about it. It's a gesture long since ingrained into her. We are nothing more than driftwood carrying on the currents. You're right. I see my past. Everything that everything that made me who I am. We got dog tags. Oh, so is this another stage then? The lieutenant drifts back into her memory, slowly tracing her way through the past. Seizing the moment, she begins telling the old man a story about a girl she knows better than anyone. A girl no one else could ever know as well. When I was 16, I received two pieces of paper. Red and orange firelight washes over my her face. While outside it glows, people laugh and dance, fluttering through the shadows like butterflies beating their wings towards another world. The first told me that my parents are gone. The second, that I have a new father. The lieutenant murmurs the word to herself by the fire. No one ever asked what I thought, and back then, not one choice in my life was mine to make. She makes herself a little space on the fire and sits. Left leg relaxed and bent, hands resting at her side, vision locked on the burning ember. The old man sits beside her, listening in silence. I was his first child. No other soldier had remained at his side as long as I have. Some he took in after me, and some fought beside him long before I arrived, but few has made it all the way to now. That day, the Admiral, my adoptive father, took me to the halls of merit at the headquarters. He picked up a dry twig and stirs the fire with it. Solemn silence. They call it a memorial hall, a place that houses a deed of the fallen. Whether soldiers or commanders, the fallen all have a place there. Cold metal, stone, and light. A far cry from the warm, living fire before her. I found my mother and father's name there. My biological father. They sacrificed their lives for a worthy cause. Heroes and mantra both. And I... She paused, waiting for the words to come. I am the child of the martyr, yet I find myself on a path I never could have dreamed of. A wry smile crossed her face, in acknowledgement of fate's cruel irony. Seeing their portrait, I felt a strange calm, hoping that one day I, too, could be there beside them. Unfortunately, that hope became reality. Why do you say unfortunately? The old man doesn't look at her. He keeps his eyes steady at the flame, her expression neutral. Got an unknown in chat. I've been told that my adoptive father and mine are now etched into that hall. She answers with a bitter smile. I can't say if it's meant as a joke or an insult, but I know that I'll never have the chance to see it with my own eyes. Will our past honor be preserved? Will I bring shame to my parents' legacy? They call us traitors. She shakes her head, looking at the old man, but remains motionless. We are nothing more than driftwood carried on the currents. He repeats his earlier words. The crackling firelight dances over his face. This is your story. It's part of my story. Fate had treated me well. It took one family from me, that gave me another, like those two letters. The Admiral took in the other orphans like me, bringing them under his commands. At the Arms Academy, or at his camp. As his daughter, I was given authority over the youngest adoptees. In better times, they should have still been in their parents' arms, not fighting in some cold, barren fields, being controlled and commanded to obey. My granddaughter was the same way when she was a child. A wild little fool, always too stubborn and fierce. I thought she would be as gentle as she looks. She laughed softly and bitterly before she returned to the topic. Not long after, my father brought a few boys to join us. They were close as clubs, raised in the same den. But years passed, and the young cubs fell until only Palmer was left. War took his brothers, and along with them, and I. He became cold and cruel after that, twisted by one mission after another. 10 set out, and only 3 returns. If he were numb to it all, he would have learned to disregard death, to the point where his own life would mean nothing, and he'll become a fugitive. And if he wasn't, every one of their deaths turns their anger further inwards, and each turn made him that much more ruthless. And I can't blame him, because I know what molded him. Even so, I know his sin cannot be washed away. The words come out calm without condemnment. But you still see him as your family. Family? Always the same as these boys. The lieutenant tilts her head as a half-hearted smile as he gestures towards the other side of the fire. A few of the soldiers spot their sisters and wave from afar, holding half a roasted lamb leg. I just hope that this time they get to live, not to just survive. But they're hungry for battle. Many of them think they will be like hunting rabbits on the steppes. But in war, the hunter and the hunted are one and the same. All they know of death and sacrifice comes from stories and propagandas. A trace of disgust flickered across her face. I hope that all will be as easy as they think, winning honor and glory. She sighs. Honor, glory. The words glimmer like two metals soaked in blood. So, you see these soldiers as your family. Yes, they are all my brothers. I also have a sister. And your sister? What kind of person did she turn out to be? She's still the same stubborn little girl. Luckier than Ptolemy. Two emotions cross her face and battle beneath the surface. Nostalgia and regret. The last time I saw her, we had raised our guns towards one another. Alright. Let me check stuff. I want to check how many of so there's alright, so there's 4 more, and I guess there's different endings, so this is what I choose. So metal. I used to call her Para. Little Para. There wasn't any trick to the name. It was short and simple. First, press your lips together, then part them, and gently drop your tongue towards your chin. It sounds light, floral maybe, like the feral creatures I saw when I met her. An unripe orange, fallen to the ground so too soon. Do oranges grow around here? He asked the old man, who gently shakes his head. Right. I never seen an orange back home either. She asks herself a question, then answers it. Harder than grapes, sweeter than plums. A runaway child. Father brought her in, and we couldn't help but be curious about the little girl with her orange hair. Polymer sized her up with his one good eye. I remember the first thing he said to her. You're shorter than I expected. She mimics her brother's tone as she speaks. The para walks right up to him, stood up on her tiptoes, and pulls him down by the collar. Call me short again? I dare you. And just like that, we were all laughing. Polly could still laugh back then, but not father. Even then, he stood there, solid as stone. I could see him watching her with that cold, calculating gaze, studying her, waiting for her next move. I know what he must be thinking. Most fathers would feel the same. Ptolemy naturally couldn't help but meet the challenge. He went down a list of words, runt, shrimp, short word stuff, as if she had them prepared. He always had a cruel sense of humor. Father and I simply sat back and waited for what would happen next. He sighed, relieving these memories has been a welcome rest from exhaustion and mental strain. So for months, she hasn't had a moment's rest, working to keep her peoples together, backing her father at the time, fretting over her sister who chooses a different path. She practically leaped as she yanked down his collar. Polymer tumbles over her shoulders like a sack of oats. I can still remember that stunned look on his face, staring up at the sky. Then we all turned to father. I already knew what he would see. The same nearly impeccable smile he gave any of us, but he was pleased. Kwame was furious. He pulled her down in the mud right along with him. The training grounds were always muddy, even on sunny days. I think it was by design. I tried to pull them apart, yelled at them to stop, but Ptolemy had long since stopped listening to me. And Lapera? I'm not sure if she ever did. There was nothing I could do. He said it with a smile. Eventually, I managed to grab a hold of my new sister, like grabbing an orange, and pull her out from the muck. Ptolemy reached for her, but I stood in his way. I told him he needed to cool off. That was their first fight, certainly not the last. I'm sure those two fought more than anyone else. All of our siblings fought. Father encouraged it. He believed it made us tougher, more resilient. Sometimes that was true. The old man nods as if in agreement. I taught her how to hold a gun. I also taught her how to ride, how to match the horse rhythm, and how to aim while on horseback. Happy memories flood to the surface, playing out like a movie lit by the flickering flames. That's how things were, the good and the bad. But things changed. The sun has long since set, and a clear, starry sky has replaced it. The chill mountain air creeps up from the darkness, making the bonfire heat feel all the more precious. She shifts her gaze up from the fire to the moon, a familiar sight in an unfamiliar time. We come from somewhere very far away. She tells her story, but no matter where we go, the moon is the same. When I was young, I would often sit with my grandmother and watch it as I hung above. When I was young, I would often sit with my grandmother and watch it as it hung above the sky. Later, whenever we weren't on patrol or training late, my sister and I would do the same. I remember once, when she was still young, she ran up to me, tugging at my sleeve, saying, "Molly, I got something to show you." She pulled me up from my desk and dragged me outside. I followed her to the courtyard, and there was a pale moon. She stood beside me, looking up at it. The lieutenant lets her head fall back, looking at the dark and starry sky. "You left her?" "Yes, I did. She was free to follow her own sense of right and wrong, to choose a different path. That's who she is, and that's how it should be. I wonder if she still looks up in the sky and thinks of me." She closed her eyes. I told her once, "We're soldiers. Goodbye is a luxury in our profession." Ptolemy understands that all too well, and so do the other soldiers. But Lopera never seems to take it seriously. She thought of it as a game. She hesitates. It wasn't. She casts a glance at the soldiers singing and dancing with the villagers. Okay, so I have 2 more left? Oh, 3 more? I'll check something first. Alright, I think we're good for another one. The rain. Alright. Alright, let's see. The rain. Most of them have never shot at anything they could shoot back. Rabbits, birds, deer, maybe a wolf or a bear. A hunter is not a soldier that just because he can fire a rifle. No more than climbing on a horse makes you a knight. The old man nods in firm agreement. You speak truly. To be a soldier is to be both the best and the worst of humanity. I still remember their names. Her voice trails off. After taking 2 deep breaths, she begins again, reciting the names as if they were of a solemn vow. Marshall, who was always better with a sword than a gun. Whitewood, who took better care of his books than his rifle. And Vesela, with her falcon. The Marshal is a fallen Xeno soldier, killed in action at 19 years of age in the southern foothills of the Caucasus of April 14, 1966. A fallen Xeno soldier is a Whitewood, a fallen Xeno soldier, lost at sea at 20 years of age after the Cape of Good Hope shipwreck on October 23rd, 1913, and Vaslia. A fallen Xeno soldier killed in action at 22 years of age in the southern Balka on November 25th, 1912. The different years, I guess, so different storms, maybe? Their names linger as ghostly wisps at the night air. The parent and I were supposed to go out on a mission. It was her first opportunity to witness a battlefield firsthand. But just before we left, Father decided to leave the 2 of us behind. I'm gonna go with the Peril being disappointed. I remember how disappointed she was. The parrot screams in the middle of the station, demanding to know why she couldn't go to the front. The fall was colder than usual. It was already snowing. I can still picture those white flakes stitched out of her orange hair. As she yelled and protested, all the soldiers turned to look at us. So many familiar faces. I thought perhaps the message meant that the war was ending, that we weren't needed there here. But it was the last thing I saw. But that was the last time I saw many of those faces. Some of them I once called siblings too. They went to war. We went home. Those were Father's orders. She lowers her head. It wasn't long after that we received the first of the remains. The parrot dug the grave herself. It was snowing that day too. She feels a chill run down her spine. One that doesn't belong to the old cold air around her, but to the distant memory. Fate brought me to my friends and then, one after another, brought others to our sides. They would come and go, live and die, and more would come. Orphans created by and for war. Exhaustion lingers in her voice. War forced us to grow, to adapt to our conditions, to the brutality around us. It's not right to say grow. We survived. Those that adapt survive. She bites down her lower lip, her brows furrowed. My sister has been on my many missions, but I don't know if she ever seen the side of war for herself. I never got the chance to ask. I never wanted to. She opens her hands. I hope not. I hope, in some way, she never had to adapt to the cruelty that I have. The brutal calculations of command. She's suited to what she does. This isn't meant for the front line. The old man pulls the almond from his sleeves and hands it to her. Thank you. The lieutenant takes it, her face crunching involuntary, anticipating the oncoming tartness. And what was it that changed you? A battle that wasn't worth remembering. When I shot a man I didn't know. Years ago, the admiral brought his daughter to the battlefield. They flew him during the final days of the war. He was still being trained as a soldier. From the window of the plane, she could see husks of concrete buildings jutted out like bones over the scarred landscape. It was her first real taste of the battle, an assault of the fortified position. We secured the streets. We had tanks then, large armored vehicles with cannons. She explains for the man, though perhaps even the notion of a motor vehicle might include him. The tanks are no use in taking a building. I led the troops in. I think we had reached the third or fourth floor without opposition. Then I heard a voice. A man speaking in a language I didn't know. I turned to see a stranger. It didn't take long before he saw me too. I reached for my gun. He raised his. The lieutenant taps her thumb on her chest, signaling with a small gesture. The old man nods in understanding, his wrinkled thumb turning the lapis little beads on his wrist. I reacted on instant, followed his training. It was over in a single shot. She sighs. Then, I don't know why, but I crumbled to the ground and lay there. My mind went blank. My comrades came running over. They thought I'd been hit. Her hands trembled on her chest. The moment replaced itself in her mind. They told me I was crying and throwing up as they dragged me out to safety. All that training, all that was expected of me, honor and glory, a martyr's death. But I only killed the man because I was afraid to die myself. I couldn't escape the looks of his face as I shot him. For a long time after, even in training, if I heard a gunshot, I would feel sick to my stomach. Until one day I changed. That sickness in my stomach just went away. Or maybe I learned to live with it. The old man stops twisting his beads on his finger. The fire twinkles back at her in the bright blue reflection. It is a feeling all soldiers must learn to live with. And we're at the Dombra. The song. It's getting late. I appreciate you listening to me, sir. You are my guest. The lieutenant nods respectfully. The music picked up again, a familiar song that brings a wave of cheers from the nearby revelers. Smoke rises up into the night sky before fading into the column of stars. May I ask that young lady over there if I could borrow the Dumbra? Of course! He raises his hands and claps. The musician, noticing the gesture, stops playing and walks over with the instrument in hand. The young painter wished to perform a song for us. The old man calls out to the people in the yard. Please, I didn't mean to stop everything on my account. I suddenly feel like I suddenly feel as if I'm about to embarrass myself. She takes the instrument, testing the sound, like reacquainting with old friends. Your soldiers gathered around, eager to join in. Curious villagers trail behind, edging closer to the honored guests. You're gonna play a song, Lieutenant?
That's right.
I thought I might show you all that I can relax to. She sits down with the instrument, facing the bonfire and the people waiting by it, and begins to play. Her voice, initially soft, raised into the clear and bright song, in memory of her homeland. Oh, golden summer, you linger too long. We lift our cups to the dwindling lights. As she plays, several voices join in harmony, following the stumbling over the words. To salute the sun as it sinks away. Oh, golden years of you, how fast you gone. For a cold winter breast will find us in the dawn. reminding us to savor our days in the warmth of the sun, to live and love while the night is young. She stood up without even realizing it, losing herself in the song, as if she was lifted from time and space entirely. Alright, that's enough for now. He waves away the cheers of the crowd and promptly returns to Dumbra. It's been so long since I last played, I'd almost forgotten how. She offers a self-deprecating chuckle, shaking her head as her voice fades away. Go on, enjoy yourself. At this, the crowd breaks out in laughter and then begins to follow the musician as they resume the previous melody. As the crowd disperses, the old man approaches again. Do you think about her often? I'll do yes, often. The lieutenant loses herself in thought, reflecting on the past, until, after a long pause, she speaks. When she joined us, things were a lot like this. We danced, we celebrated, and I remember playing that song up for them as well. She's always been a fighter from the moment we met. There's a difference between that and a soldier. Just like that's the difference between us. I suppose she is always going to grow up. My sister isn't the kind to feel hopeless. She won't cry herself to sleep if I'm not there with her. She's a Xeno soldier. The lieutenant stretches the words, her firm gaze. She made that choice for herself. We tried to force her down the path she couldn't follow. Sometimes, I wonder if I just explained things to her from the beginning. If I had said the right words, would she have chosen differently? Her tone is wistful. It catches her off guard to let something so naive slip out. I don't know. She shakes her head. It wasn't that she didn't know. It's that she knew there was no answer. She always lived according to her own rules, her own conscience. And I will never take that from her. A bitterness holds on her tongue, it started at the young man's almonds. Her sister's image feels faint and distant. She can't even recall the sound of her voice. What comes to her mind, instead, is the thundering rattle of a gunfire. It's rolling afternoon, thick, humid air that clings to her skin, mixing with beads of sweat. She guides her sister's hand, telling her to aim at the target and not hesitate when pulling the trigger. Decisive and resolute. Just like her dice games, she could lose every time and never regret it, no matter how badly she lost. Perhaps while I was away, she really grew up. Let's open the letter. Also, this is the last one. Autumn. We're on autumn. A brief message is placed in the lieutenant's desk. November 11, 1920. Ceasefire on the Western Front. Your force remains stationed at Alca. Recruit, prepare, and await further orders. Their war is over. But mine isn't. She opens the window, facing out towards the snow-covered mountains as they glimmer in the morning lights. From a distance, she can see her new recruits, young people from the village, leading their horses to the river after the morning patrol. She idly twists the medal in her hands, not a mark of battle or reward for service. It was one of a kind, a gift from the world #1 sister. So I'm going to put. I hope she isn't anywhere near the Eastern Front. To be better off staying away from this war. In fact, I pray we never see her at all. Father won't show her any mercy. She clutches the metal, a cold metal carrying a warmth that's hers and hers alone. She wouldn't either. She picks up her rifle and turns to head outside. Her troops are waiting for her. The crisp fall of air fills the sky outside, clear and boundless, illuminated with the rising sun. Meanwhile, on the other side, she's nearing the end of the long interrogation, the final one. I got nothing more to say. Also, now we're in the Foundation area. They're traitors and he's gone. I don't know who's running their little rebellion now. It's Igor. He's alive, or Tasha is certain of it.
Yeah, and?
What about Moldir? We haven't heard anything about her. Even though about going to the Eastern Front soldier, he holds her silent for a long time. I'll go wherever I'm ordered to go. The blinds of the interrogation rooms are pulled open, and the dazzling light of day floods in. On this late fall afternoon, the sunlight slants into the cold bare room. The parrot stands by the window, lifting a hand to shield her eyes as she squints towards the world outside. You said earlier that the storm had changed the era again. Yes, we're back in 1920, 71 years before the last reversion. Only for some reason, the Great War isn't over. The timeline as we once knew has changed. War goes on. The parrot doesn't say anything further. Her first tangle with emotion as she looks out towards the unreachable horizon. In the daylight, somewhere far across the world, the woman she worries for rides beneath the mountains, holding her reins in a firm grip. Fall in. The lieutenant command cuts through the air. At the village edge, her soldier waits fully armed. The troops fall in formation, silently waiting for whatever order comes next. Forward! Alright, so that's the end of that one. That's the neat, also, that's one of the endings, I guess. Oh, so we unlocked the second ending, not the first ending? Oh, wait. Let's see, if we go back... Wait, what did it say? So are you supposed to choose the second one? I'm just gonna go fast forward it and choose the other one I haven't chose. Let's see. We have a skip. Let's try Zulu officer. Alright, so what's this one her saying is, I'm an officer of the Xeno Arms Academy. The lie curled on her tongue, but then she reminds herself that, though she may not bear the title, her life is nevertheless bound to Xeno through her past. Her adopted father and the sister and brother who grew up with. Academy? There's a touch of doubt in her hoarse voice. The firelight paints his white beard with streaks of burning red. It's where soldiers like me are trained. My ancestors are fighters too. We came from far away from the... Wait. They came from far away across the Western Sea and made their homes there. Okay, so that's the only difference. So we're gonna skip it now. Oh. We'll choose this other one. A courtyard in the pouring rain and a barrel of a gun. I raised a weapon against my own family. I fired at her in the pouring rain. I abandoned her. The memories flickered in the flame made her throat tighten. You must have no choice. Something must have forced your hands. No. I knew exactly what I was doing. I see my past. Everything that made me who I am. Okay. 5 is the other one. Skip. Okay, we're gonna choose this one since we didn't. I still don't know. I still don't understand why. We were at the station waiting for the train when the messenger showed up with orders for us to turn back to base. By the time I finished reading, the train had pulled into the station. The others started getting on, one after another. The disappointment in her face hardened into something else. Sadness became protest. Protest turns to rage. All I could do was grab her hand and tell her to follow orders. I didn't understand Father's reasoning, but I followed his order, just as I always have. I keep my opinions to myself and I follow orders. Fate brought me to my father and then, one after another, brought others to our side. Hey Millie, thanks for the hydrate. So we kind of did finish the story. I'm just going to see how we unlock ending 1. So we're skipping through to the decision. Hey. Okay. Alright, so we chose less often last time, so now we choose now and then, but she should always be my sister, but that wildness in her. We grew apart. Maybe there was nothing that could stop us from growing apart. All that matters to me now are the lives of those soldiers under my command. The past is the river we already crossed. Tomorrow matters, yesterday does not. You're right. I suppose she was always going to grow up. Okay, so I remember this sign, so let's see. Alright, so next 7 is the end. This is the one we get the ending thing. Alright, now this is, we want to see her. I hope I see her somewhere on the Eastern Front. Maybe she'll end up deployed to the Eastern Front. I don't know. Maybe they won't send her to the front lines again. But then again, who knows? Father is there after all. Her voice falls into a lump rumble. She stares down at the rustled metal, damaged and tarnished. She doubts it would survive any attempts to mend it. Okay, so now we're on the Paris side.
May I ask?
Oh, wait. Oh, it's just okay. On the other side, a long interrogation is coming to a close. As expected, visitors arrive as the letter is slipped into the room. Sorry for the interruption, but I have news for the Miss Lepera. A Foundation member steps into the room and hands an envelope to Lepera. He opens it and pulls out a content of full view of everyone. No one stops her. Eastern Front, Igor. She reads in silence. Her ever-easy smile falls away into frustration. She scans the page again and again as if searching for another name. We thought it best to share this with you. Thank you. We haven't received any intelligence on former Lieutenant Moldir. That doesn't surprise me. If she's still alive, if she's somewhere out there, I just hope she doesn't come to regret her choices. Sounds like she did some work for us in Antarctica.
Sí, claro.
Is that so? Is there any news of her? I want to know first. We do what we can. Alright, so that's... Okay. Okay. Right, so we then unlock the first ending. How do you unlock the first ending then? Oh, we unlocked it. Oh, so this one is the pair instead of somebody going into room and mentioning it to her. She actually gets a letter and reads about it. We got all the rewards. Alright. And let's see, what's left? Alright, let's see, how are we doing in the Maelstrom? Oh, was there another letter we could burn? Okay, top secret. The Paris case has come to an end. Oh wait, so this is actually from last update with Berm and Barrel. The Paris case has come to an end. From that taxi driver, Navajo, managed to acquire details information about the case. And followed it away. A foundation has long suspected Barrel was connected to Mantis Vindictae. However, in an archive record, they haven't discovered any relevant clues, so they sent several agents to infiltrate the Mantis to get information, but ended in failure. It wasn't until Moss's operation that this unresolved matter was brought back to light. We'll burn it! Oh, okay, so for some reason I always get that mixed up. For some reason I thought they like burned like the code, not like burn it onto the CD.